But a lot of people probably thought I wouldn't be back boxing. I was in an abusive relationship. So in all of that together, I needed just a break from boxing, and I'd come away and went back to work in the army. And then before I knew it, it was like 3 years had gone by. Wow. And I hadn't had a fight.
When did you start getting that comeback feeling, when you started to feel your former self? And
probably when I was in the hospital, and then I come out and I just sort of, after like a few weeks, thought I need to sort myself out. I can't keep living like this isn't me. Didn't even recognise myself. My dad used to be very like sort of strict when I was younger, when I was training and stuff like that. If I was hitting the bag and I wasn't putting it all, he'd just come to me and say, we might as well go home if you're like not going to hit it properly, or it'd be like, you're not here to make friends, like train. He sort of got that sort of mindset into me, and I'm still like it now, where I won't complain or when I'm training and stuff like that.
Would you say that's really built you to this day, your dad's efforts as a kid?
Yeah, I'd say. And obviously it's like, if you're going to do it properly, or don't do it at all. That documentary that come out was actually got a really good feedback.
Okay.
That little half an hour one, it was a BBC one. I was dreading that, coming out, but I got nobody said a bad. Everyone, it was just all positive. Because then that sort of showed a bit of my personality as well, I suppose.
Exactly that, yeah. So I'm hoping this platform, that will be like the best thing. Get the personalities out there, and also show your hard work and training, because only until you start getting certain titles and recognition, people won't really know your name. So in the UFC, the Embedded series, you see the day in the life, and they make someone that's like maybe the 30th best in the world, and they make them look like a star. And why can't everyone be a star? You're a professional boxer, you're glorified. You know, even though where you are in your career, you deserve all the recognition for everything you do, the hard work.
Yeah, because people don't know at all, do they? When I say to people, I train twice a day, they're like, what?
And the sacrifice you take, it's not just the training, what you don't do out of training.
Yeah.
It must be so difficult, especially at this age.
Yeah. You don't really do much other than train, really.
So what's your family like and things? Have you got a supportive family? Have you grown up around boxing?
Yeah, so I actually started kickboxing first with my brothers. My dad took us along, but then they all stopped. And then I changed into boxing from there. My dad's always been really supportive of the boxing. He was the one who would sort of take me to the gym and stuff when I was younger. My mum's supportive of it. She was always sort of like, she knew about the boxing side of things and stuff like that, but she never really understood loads when I was younger. She just always sort of accepted like that's what I'd done and stuff like that.
So you've always been very sporty. Did you do any other sports as a kid? Or?
No, I never done any other sport, but there's a picture of me when I was a kid, before I even started boxing. When I come to choosing my Christmas presents on the Argos catalogue, I choose all the dollies and stuff, but then I choose the boxing bag on there. So that was even before I started boxing. And then in the library at school, I'd choose a boxing book and be trying to learn how to stand in a stance and stuff, because obviously that was before YouTube and everything like that. So I must have been drawn to it before I even actually started boxing at I was about 12.
Okay, what was your first boxing memory, like watching it on the telly, or was there anyone that you were just glued to?
Mike Tyson. My dad showed me Mike Tyson, videos of him and stuff like that, and because he was shorter, he had to move his head, and I used to watch a lot of him.
Is that what you'd sort of say your style is a little bit like? Because you're always boxing girls a lot bigger than you.
Yeah, I'd say I have to have a similar sort of style. And even when I was young, I'd be about 12. I'd be getting up at 5:30 in the morning, going running and practicing the movement of Mike Tyson and stuff.
At 12 years old?
Yeah, I'd run up the hill, and I'd be out that early that I'd see the bin men. And I'd be practicing shadow boxing, just stuff like that, yeah.
Because your balance has always been brilliant. That's from me watching outside in, when I saw you at Heart of Portsmouth, that was 2015 maybe?
Yeah, that was the year I sort of left and joined the army.
Oh, okay, so maybe the year before. So how was all that? You started at Stacey's, is that right?
I actually, my first boxing, where did I go to? I think it was Charles Dickens Centre, which was Stacey. Then I was at Moneyfields for a bit, and then I was at Heart Portsmouth for that was where I sort of stayed for the longest. No, actually, I did start off very first time Paulsgrove with Kelvin and Tony Oil. That was the very first time.
Did you compete at Paulsgrove?
No, I remember I was just starting out, and I'd keep saying, can I spar? but it obviously, like, I was still just starting out, so I never got to spar or anything. But yeah, that was the very first boxing club.
When did you start taking it seriously? What club?
Heart of Portsmouth. And then we went to go and watch the Olympics in 2012, and that was the first time female boxing was in the Olympics. So sort of from there, that was like, I'll definitely stop kickboxing now, and that'll be the goal.
Who won that? Was it Clarissa?
Yeah, it was only 3 weight categories. So it was Nicola Adams
Yeah.
at 51, Katie Taylor 60, Clarissa Shields 75.
Yeah, God, what 3 of the best women boxers of all time at the moment, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how was it, you maybe seeing her a gold medal at 2012 and then being on her show last week? Like, that transition.
It's crazy. And just the atmosphere in there, and just looking at that and thinking, I want to do something like this like one day. Obviously I never went to the Olympics, but similar, where I'm on the big stage, and obviously the gold would be a world title.
Yeah, that's huge. And women's boxing is just, it's probably better than men's right now. There's so many problems in the men's with pull-outs and all the hype and ups and downs, and then you've got absolute wars.
Yeah, you're always guaranteed to see an exciting fight. Obviously it's 2-minute rounds, hopefully will change to 3 minutes, but I think you're always sort of going to see an exciting fight.
I was going to ask you about that. So 3-minute rounds, what makes you think that should happen? Because it's such a big controversial topic. I think it should be 3 minutes.
I just think 2 minutes it's quite rushed. And then obviously 10 2-minute rounds, it's just over before you know it. Especially if you do 4 2-minute rounds. I've never done that, I've done it 6, but it just goes too quickly. I think with the 3 minutes, so you can get more into that sort of pro style.
Yeah, that's where I think there's more of an amateur
You'd see more
style.
stoppages.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think of Savannah Marshall? When they were going into the fight last week, was you obviously cheering on the Brit? Did you think she'd be able to do the job?
Personally, no, I did think Shields was going to win, but however, if Savannah hit her with a knockout punch, but then I was thinking, it's just Shields hasn't won all what she has for nothing, and was she going to let herself get caught with that? So that was sort of the way I was thinking. Yeah. I still haven't got to see it yet.
Oh, because you were warming up, weren't you?
Yeah, just haven't seen it yet.
Well, I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, Clarissa in the first half of the fight was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So good.
I should have watched it by now, but in my place, I've got no signal to like watch videos and stuff like that at the minute. So.
Where are you staying at the moment?
I'm living in Copner.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm renting one of my dad's places. So.
Nice.
But yeah, I need to sort Wi-Fi out yet and all that sort of stuff.
So we were talking off air a little bit about the weigh-in. Obviously, you said that got loads of views. You turned up. You was in like pink lingerie or whatever it was. You said like that was a big stepping stone in terms of just media attention, which was good. Yeah,
but the thing is that the weigh-in, like before, I'd think, I'll purposely wear like things that cover you, sort of thing, rather than stuff what you'd usually wear. But I just think, why not? It was a all-female show. Everybody else was doing it there, so I just thought, why not, really? You sort of want to show as well that there's 2 sides to you. You can be girly and you can still be a fighter.
That must be so weird, having 2 completely contrasting sides.
Yeah, I think before, like, if I'd be out and stuff like that, and people probably wouldn't believe that I'd done boxing. Obviously different now in Portsmouth, more people know of me that I do boxing and stuff like that, but I won't even bother trying to explain that I do boxing seriously, because people think you probably just do like a little boxercise or something like that.
And people would probably look down on it. Yeah, people would probably think, oh, woman boxer, what's that?
Yeah, or just not take it, like actually do it seriously. But obviously it's different now, it's changed now, but this was, say, a few years ago.
But also that's why I think Q was so good back then at Heart of Portsmouth. Like the things that he had done with you, he was doing the same work with you as Waleed and Ahmed and everyone else, and
Definitely.
national champions were coming out of the
I'd
gym.
be getting inspiring them, although they'd power down, but I mean, them boys are naturally strong. Even if they power down, I'd still see flashing lights. But he did just sort of treat me the same.
That's all you wanted, right?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see it as that when I was younger, though. I didn't see it as, I'm the only girl in the gym, or he's treating me the same. As it was just what it was. I didn't see myself as that it was strange that I was boxing.
Did you find it hard finding women to spar before, like when you were competing? Was it hard to
there was some
travel?
women there, but obviously like a lot of them would come and go. I would spar the boys a lot, but when you're younger it's fine sparring the boys, and then they suddenly are getting into men and they're suddenly getting big, and so you got to stop sparring them.
Have you grown at all from back then, or
Probably not height-wise. Yeah, probably not height-wise.
And Mikey, we had him on yesterday, and he said that I think you got the same strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, Gary Jones.
And
yeah, he's really good. Thing is, with a strength and conditioning coach, you want someone who's sort of worked with boxers. So when you're doing these weights, it's boxing specific.
Can you expand on it? What do you do, for example, out of camp maybe with him that you would sort of maybe cut down on in camp? Does he have like a program leading up to the fight?
Yeah, it's a program. It's obviously close to getting to the fight. It's more sort of just like body weight or like things with the bands, plyometric stuff. And the way we sort of train, it's like we mimic the movements of what way I'd sort of fight. So probably what he does with me would be different to what he does with Lucas or Mikey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do you do a lot of plyometrics?
Yeah, or just like lateral movement, so like jumps and stuff like that.
Are you good at box jumps? Can you go high?
I think I'm all right. I'm not really testing myself of how high I could go.
I'm terrible. Apparently, you can judge your power in your punches through your jump.
Yeah, really, because obviously
there's
you're
like
not really supposed to do like a double jump before you're supposed to just get the power from nothing and explode up. But the box we've got at the gym in Guildford is just a wooden one, so if you miss it, you hit your shin.
Yeah, there's one of them that I'd done with my mate Howard. We had a strength conditioning camp before Sweden, and I jumped up, I missed, hit my shin, and all of the leg hair scrapes.
Oh no! I've still got a little scar on my shin from when I done it.
You can't see mine.
But when your legs are dead, and you're not concentrating, that's when you mess up.
Fatigue takes over. What would you say is your biggest strength?
Probably my engine, like work rate, and that's why I've got to do. With Colin Williams, who used to be old trainer at Hart Portsmouth too, with Q, he takes me on like my track runs, hill runs. I think they're key.
And what runs are they? Do you split it up, 400 metres, 800 metres, 100 metre sprints?
Yeah, we split it up really. The main one we sort of do is 400 metres, sort of like best effort, and then we run up Farlington Avenue. Well, we don't. Colin stands at the top. I run up Farlington Avenue.
Do you do it just once? Is it?
Yeah, it's like best effort, and then beat the times. Obviously, as it's getting close to the fight, the times come down.
Nice. I think 400 metres, you're using both your energy systems, right?
Yeah.
So you burn out through the first 200, and then you tap into...
Well, yeah, because it's too long for a sprint, and then you're doing a best effort. So, yeah, it really does... You can feel it on the lungs and the legs. But then that's what you need in a fight when it starts to get tough.
Yeah. Do you ever do, at the end of a sprint, like shadowboxing on the spot or anything, trying to keep your heart rate up?
No, I've not done that.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, because I remember in the amateurs, one of my coaches in Melbourne, he was just saying, as soon as you finish any sprint, just try and maintain movement, because obviously if you gas in a fight and you just want to stop, you won't be able to.
Yeah, I suppose, and even safe like keeping your guard up when you feel like that.
So you move into the army for boxing. Is that, would you say, where you progress most in sort of your teen years?
So I just left to join the army because I knew I could box in there full time, because I couldn't have got on GB at that age. They wasn't taking people till they were like 18 then.
What age were you?
17. And I had to stay in education, and I was in like sixth form, so I joined the army. Got onto the army boxing team, and then just really straight away I got onto GB. So then that's where I say I progressed.
And how long were you there for?
How long was I on GB for? I think I was on GB for about 2 or 3 years.
No. And what girls were you training with at the time?
Caris,
Okay.
Lauren Price, Sandy Ron. That's who I shared the house with up there. I actually shared a room with Caris in the army as well originally, and now obviously we're all both fighting on Boxer. Who else is out there? Who's Chloe Watson? Yeah.
Some big names, and obviously fast forward a few years from now, there's probably going to be a picture of you in the army with them, or sorry, Team GB, and then there's going to be a picture of you guys with all the title belts.
Yeah, so like, there's pictures of me, Sandy, Lauren and Kaz, and then Demi Jade. Demi Jade's went to the Commonwealths, and then Sandy obviously and Lauren and Kaz, they're doing well.
Who would you say was the hardest spars that you were doing with when you were training there? Probably
Will Corley and Galau Yafai. Even though they'd probably go light on me, it's still like they were harder spars.
Galau's the one that went pro recently, right?
And
his
he
debut
went
was
for a title
rounder.
straight away, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, he's
a machine.
He is. I was going to say, out of all of the Team GB lot, I loved his style. And especially at the lower weights, a lot of people don't really like the lower weights for whatever reason, but the punch output on that guy is incredible.
I know, and it's just like constant pressure.
And he was actually stopping people at that weight, so you don't really see that.
No.
Yeah.
He's strong.
In your gym, so you're at Guildford, You've got, does Joel Bartel still train there?
Yeah, he
Joel?
does. No, I think he might be training somewhere else now because he's turned over.
Okay, yeah, he keeps tagging Mark Tibbs in all of his posts.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, so maybe he's gone to the Tibbs gym.
Yeah, maybe. We've got Jimmy Lee. Who else is there? A senior Byfield. I'm trying to think who else.
Walid and Ahmed there? Do they train?
No, they're not. They just come for sparring sometimes.
okay.
Yeah, they train with Colin.
What are they up to now?
And they're turning over. Yeah, they're turning him over in the process of it.
Yeah, when I spoke with Dean White at York Hall, I mentioned them too because like I don't think they've been signed with anyone yet, and someone should sign them because their work ethic is incredible.
Yeah, and they've got what you can't teach, just like the heart, and they train hard.
Yeah, the discipline. I see Walid in here, like the stuff he does, knowing that I've seen on his Instagram he did sprints in the morning, whatever else.
Yeah.
And he's not got a fight date. That's just his mindset. Yeah. So during the army, how was it for you having relationships with people? Was it a bit tough maybe where you sort of were all on boxing? I was speaking with Mikey and he was saying how you got to have a supportive relationship with everyone that's got your one goal. Yeah,
definitely. I think it is hard to sort of have that. You've got to have people around you sort of understand, and when you're doing something like this, obviously the smaller your circle the better. That's what I think.
And what's in your small circle?
So we've got John, my trainer, Gary, my S&C coach, Colin, who I train with as well, then my family, and I feel bad if I've missed anyone out. But it's basically just my training team and my family.
And you said, obviously, you want to cut down weight, hopefully, to another weight division?
Yeah, I think, we're at Super Bantam now and looking to do Bantam weight along the line.
Nice. And you might be getting Jack on board, possibly?
Yeah, I'd like to get Jack on board. Obviously, I have to go and see him and sort of do all the measurements and stuff like that. But he's worked with a lot of good boxers, so I think he'd be the best person to go to.
Yeah, and I think as well with his body comp thing he does, he can actually see what weight you would be appropriate for in terms of everything. So yeah, having those tests nowadays, if you went back 20 years, you would never know if you would be as strong at whatever weight that would be.
Yeah, and especially as well when you're cutting weight, it's better to have someone telling you what to do and what to eat, so you can't veer off track. If someone's telling you and you stick to it, it's like having meal preps. It's better.
What is your current diet then when you are in camp?
When I'm in camp, I go into meal preps, so that's just like chicken, rice, salmon, just like clean foods really, but it's mainly just because it's got the calories all worked out.
And how many calories a day is it usually?
I have around 1,600 really.
Wow, that's it. And you're training twice a day?
Yeah, but it depends. If I'm training more, I'll have more. If I'm training twice, which most days I am, but then say on a rest day or a day I'm training once or I'm not really sparring, I'll just sort of fuel the carbs around sort of what sessions I'm doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think you were saying as well, sometimes fasting,
Well, sometimes I do it unintentionally. So if I'm going to the track in the morning and I'm there at like 7:30, I don't really want to have like breakfast before. Then by the time I end up having my food, it's sort of lunchtime. So I'm sort of fasting without even realising.
Yeah, and that feels better. Like running on a full stomach is
especially not hill run or sprints.
Oh yeah, be terrible. Yeah. What's your go-to food before like a big session? Let's say you got 8 rounds sparring. Is there anything in particular you?
Not really. Like all the meal preps are different, really. So I'll just have one of them. Okay. But it's always going to be some carbs in there. Yeah,
because I think Jack, he'll probably show you this, but there's like certain rice cakes you can have with like honey and stuff, so like good sugar boosts.
Yeah.
But it's low calorie.
But that's what I mean. It was good to have someone like that on board because it's just little tricks and stuff like that we wouldn't have thought of.
I think I'm actually seeing him possibly next week. He said he's working with Billy Joe Saunders at the moment.
Yeah.
I think he said he's living with him. I don't know if he's just having me on, but that's impressive because Billy Joe's coming back now, I think. I saw a video. Did you see the video of him sparring?
No.
So he's like twice the size.
But I've obviously seen pictures of him.
Yeah, but I guess obviously taking a loss to Canelo, but having a paycheck.
It's easily done as a boxer.
Yeah.
You think you diet all them years, and then when you stop, like it must be hard for fighters who've dieted all their life nearly just to steer clear of them sorts of foods.
It makes me think of Prince Nessie. Yeah. So have you stopped yourself for like a year or something before coming back to boxing?
I actually had 3 years out the ring. 2 of them I wasn't actually boxing for. 1 year I was still training on GB before coming back to boxing.
Was there any reason or?
It was mainly just because The Olympic weight for being on GB was 51 kilos, and I just couldn't make that no more. So I come off Team GB, went back to work in the army, and then other things going on, like I was in an abusive relationship and stuff like that. So in all of that together, I needed just a break from boxing, and I come away and went back to work in the army. And then before I knew it, it was like 3 years had gone by. Wow. And I hadn't had a fight. So it was just stuff like that. But I think I needed that break. I always knew in the back of my head that I'd want to be back boxing and boxing on a big platform. And I always knew that I could do it if I went back training again.
Yeah, you're so talented.
Thank you. A lot of people probably thought I wouldn't be back boxing, and then probably my own dad thought, oh, you won't be back boxing, because sometimes you go too far the other way. It's hard to get back into it, but I always knew in the back of my head that I would.
You sort of glanced over it there, but you said you had an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
So you probably had some tough times during your time out that you sort of had to get your life back on track.
Yeah, it was sort of like more when it ended that it seemed to affect me more. And then at the time, I didn't really think that was what was making me feel that way. But obviously, it is quite a traumatic experience. I had a documentary come out about it, which I was really apprehensive about, because I didn't want it to come across like a sob story or, and it's quite a personal thing. But I think if it can help other people, then why not? And especially someone like myself, the amount of people who say to me, oh, I bet your boyfriend don't come home from the pub late, or I bet your boyfriend don't do this or don't do that. And people seem to have this image, because you're a boxer, that them sort of things wouldn't happen and you just knock them out and stuff like that. But obviously it's a big stigma around it. So yeah, I think it just would help a lot of women, really.
Definitely, it must have been tough. And I think when you feel like you can't speak up and you have those thoughts of other people think it's a sob story, it's not.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through so many tough things in life. I'm going to be working with Mind, which is good.
Yeah.
They helped me with counselling with some things that went on with me. And if I didn't have that, who knows how I'd be.
Yeah, definitely.
You speaking up, did you feel better getting it off your chest and realising what had happened when you sort of looked at...
Sometimes I felt better, and then sometimes I felt like embarrassed, or, oh, what have I come out with it, what have I told? But then obviously now I'm a stronger person and stuff. Yeah, I'm glad that it's out there. And obviously the person who done it went on to do it to about 3 or 4 other women. So it's just one of them things where the more you speak about it, it can just sort of help others.
Yeah, that must have been really tough. Before we go any further in the podcast, I would just like to thank the proud sponsors of Notjustboxing. Notjustboxing is proudly sponsored by Titan Boxing. Titan Boxing is a UK fast-growing boxing business. They do personalised gloves, pads, t-shirts, everything. They've got UK free shipping. Go check them out with the link on screen. Gymfluencers.com are proud sponsors of Notjustboxing. They are the premier health and fitness website. There you can find supplement discount codes, freebies, giveaways, a macro calculator. There's all sorts on there. So go check them out at gymfluencers.com or check out their on Instagram at gymfluencers.official. Would you say, has there been any other tough points in your life that you've had to overcome, or was that...
Yeah, but probably all sort of stemmed from that. It was like a downward spiral. So obviously the year before I actually had my debut, like exactly a year before it, I was actually in such a bad place that I ended up in a mental hospital. But and obviously to come back a year later from that and actually be where I would always in the back of my head wanted to be. Obviously there's a long way to go, but I just think that in itself is coming a long way. And people sort of say, obviously the other day I was a float fight and it didn't get streamed, and a lot of people were like, oh, aren't you gutted about it? And yeah, I was a bit, but I just think I'm still a lot further ahead than where I thought I was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
But there was crazy. A lot of things that went on in them years that I went boxing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing you're probably overwhelmed with, when you had that as a big problem, every little problem was probably 10 times worse.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't handle anything, couldn't handle any sort of pressure. So even going back to boxing, I just didn't think I'd be able to, like at the time. And then I went to Guildford with John, and he helped me out. And he helped me even when I didn't even think I was going to turn professional. And I was overweight and still drinking a lot and stuff like that, and wouldn't turn up probably to sessions. And he still sort of was patient with me and was there for me.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting that comeback feeling, when you started to feel your former self? And
Probably when I was in the hospital, and then I come out, and I just sort of, after like a few weeks, thought I need to sort myself out. I can't keep living like this. Like, this isn't me. Didn't even recognise myself. And then just started training more and more. And eventually, I don't know how many more months later it was, probably a good few months later, I got the contract with Boxer. John come down to tell me. And yeah, I was just like, wanted to cry. I was that happy. And that was like, I was training hard anyway, but that was when it was like fully focused.
that's brilliant. And
Yeah.
to go onto a Boxer contract straight into your pro career, bearing in mind what they're doing in women's boxing, that's like, you can't get better than that.
Well, I think my amateur pedigree really helped me, because although I had the long time out, I didn't come, like, say, straight from GB, straight from Olympics like some of the others. I think my amateur pedigree helped me out.
And even just you being in the network, everyone that knows of you that would have spoken to anyone in Boxer would have said, she's mustard.
Yeah, and not only for my debut did I have the pressure of like being on Sky. I had the BBC there filming, because they were doing that little documentary about sort of like a comeback in a way. It was like female empowerment. So yeah, it was a lot.
So how have you handled going from all of this in the year? Like, have you had any close peers, your small circle really?
Well, yeah, it's been another. So it was a year before my debut where I was like in a down place, but it's been like 2 years on now. I'm getting more and more used to it. So the weigh-in and the press conferences and
the cameras in your face.
Yeah, or even like now when I'm in the shop, someone will come up to me and be like, "Hi, Ebonie," and I think it's so nice. I actually am more of a more sociable person now, and a chatty person. Before I'd even be like feel nervous to even walk into a boxing show.
Would you say that's down to boxing itself that's giving you the confidence?
Yeah, and because I've got to do interviews now, and people come up to me and talk, and I'm just better at. I don't know, if someone was to stop me and start speaking, I'm just more confident to do that. Whereas before, I wasn't really like that.
There's been a few people on here that have said the exact same thing, how you learn to do it. You learn on the job. You have some bad interviews. You're definitely not going to do that again.
Well, because I'd always be training. I would never be going out or socialising. I wasn't very sociable. Not a rude person, but whereas if someone had stopped me and talked to me in the shop, I'd be a bit shy or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely getting more and more used to it.
And going to boxing, how was your debut on the day? So the feelings going pro, was it different to just fighting an amateur fight? Did you have all that pressure on your shoulders?
Yeah, I'd say it was some pressure. But at the same time, I said to myself, this is all I wanted for these years that I've been down. So I can't start getting nervous now. Can't mess it up now. I've got to just take it all in. So yeah, I was nervous, but I did handle it. Because like I said, I've been dreaming of that.
So out of boxing, what do you get up to? What's the Ebonie that's not the boxer?
Not much really. I probably, when I'm not training, I like going shopping, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but just saving money. Yeah. I see my family. I listen to a lot of music, like country music and all the old songs. Nice. But I don't actually do much else when I'm not boxing. It's like John said, have the week off this week. Don't even run, do anything. So it's like, I think to myself, what am I going to do?
Is that tough then? Do you get itchy knuckles and?
Yeah, or I just don't know what to do with myself when I'm not boxing.
Is there any, like, I don't know, going on long walks or swimming?
Yeah,
or?
I could go on a long walk, but just find it a bit boring, really. Yeah. That's what John said. He said, go swimming, don't train and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just one of them. It's your life, isn't it? So.
So you said you do the trap work. Is that over by Mountbatten?
Yeah, the Mountbatten.
Okay, yeah, because you can swim there. I think they got the Olympic-sized swimming pool. Is it a steam room in there as well?
Yeah, they got a steam room. Yeah.
That's what I'd be doing.
Well, the week's nearly up now. It's Saturday, so
True.
I've got tomorrow. I'll be back in the gym.
So where we are today, BH Live, this is part of the Mountbatten. So they're they got all the gyms combined, and they're brilliant. Like this venue here, I think they spent like $1.5 million.
I've never been in here. It looks nice.
Oh, okay. So did you probably remember the old gym, right? Where I think they used to have a swimming pool next door.
Well, yeah, I just used to go in the pool when I was a kid with the waves. I haven't been here in years. I don't even know if that's still there,
like the wave machine,
yeah,
one of those things. Yeah, nice. And out of all of this, have you travelled with any boxing? Have you gone to any countries with sparring?
Yeah, I've been loads to countries boxing. I've been
Can you name a few?
China, Taiwan, Italy, Colorado Springs, Bulgaria, Serbia, France. I've been probably more, but I can't. I've been loads of places.
Wow.
I've been lucky, since 15. boxing for England. Then on GB, I've actually been to, and places you'd have never, like Thailand and stuff like that.
What was your favourite place? Have you got any big memories that you can remember?
Favourite?
Even just in terms of the atmosphere.
I like Italy because it's a place in Assisi, and you go up sort of in the hill or mountain, whatever it is, and there's all like monks there, and it's just, I can't even describe it, but somewhere where I would have never been if it weren't for boxing.
Very peaceful, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And you probably made best friends for life as well, going to some of these places.
Yeah, obviously one of my best mates is Demi Jade, who I met through boxing and stuff like that. We don't speak very often, but yeah, definitely made friends.
Is it one of those people that you don't speak to for 6 months and then it's like you never stop talking?
Yeah, like that, yeah.
Nice. And back to training, I really want to try and zone in here. So 2-minute rounds is tough. I think it's harder than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you do to put a fast pace for 2-minute rounds? Because it is, people don't understand that don't box.
Yeah.
A high pressure for 2 minutes against usually a woman that's bigger than you, and trying not to get hit, trying to get on the inside. What are you doing to be the better boxer?
It's just all around sparring, pads, do bag work, and then obviously say all the cardio, so getting that way your heart can sort of be at that high work rate. So that'd be the track work, the hills. Obviously I go on my longer runs too. It's all of it together, and then with Gary doing the S3.E6.
Is there anything you don't like doing?
Weights.
Is there any training that you hate doing when you know it's a certain day? Or
not really, do you know what? I'm so used to it now. Probably the hill. Getting up some morning and it's like cold, and knowing that I'm going to be in pain running up the hill, because you do actually feel in pain at the top.
Do you go through any self-doubt in camps, especially when you're on a 1,600 calorie day?
Yeah, you go through self-doubt, probably like fight week maybe. You start thinking, but that's always, I think, normal. I'm so used to it now. But yeah, maybe on like a day when you want to do really well in sparring and you've been doing all that training that week and you just sort of got to push through it.
And what do you do for recovery? Do you do ice baths and things with people, saunas?
No, I actually don't really do much for recovery.
No? Lots of stretching at least?
Yeah, I use a foam roller and stuff like that, and I probably should use that cryo chamber. I see a lot of the boxers doing it. Hopefully I can get sponsored.
Yeah, well, you definitely will.
Yeah.
There's probably some places in Guildford that can do it.
Yeah.
Or even in Portsmouth, I think. Have you been to the Cupping people in Portsmouth?
No, I've not been.
It's called Portsmouth Cupping. But
yeah.
The guy's
I think I've got him on
brilliant.
Instagram.
Yeah. So he's called
touch
Maz.
wood, I don't got any injuries and stuff like that, so I don't like to sort of do anything to anything that isn't a problem already. Like I started seeing a chiropractor because he was doing it for like nothing, and then I thought, why am I seeing him? I've not got nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
So like, no, don't want to start moving things about that aren't an issue. But yeah, say recovery, mob recovery probably could be a bit better of doing things like that.
That's good. The Cupping guy is like a sports massage therapist.
Yeah.
So regardless, it's just loosening your muscles, and that's what the cupping does. It brings loads of new blood there, so you just sort of leave feeling like brand new.
So I've never done it.
I'd recommend you'll have lots of cut marks on your back, and it's not the nicest.
I've seen
looking.
it with people.
It is nasty. I'll show you a video. It doesn't look nice.
I've seen it. Yeah, it looks painful.
Well, Tio Lopez does it, and that's good enough for me. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
And then we've got what's your fastest mile? You're quite a good runner.
I don't know, for a mile.
100 meters, 200 meters. Have you got any times that you try and beat in camps?
Say like 400 meters. A good time would be like 1 minute 15 or something like that. But then I've got to do it. I do it 8 times. So if I was just doing one of them, I probably would get faster. But I know obviously I've got to do it 8 times. And
you're getting that same time every time at least? No. Does it slowly?
Yeah, it will be different. But then and then the last one I can like try and get that again.
And what's the rest in between? How long do you get?
The rest. So we do like telling you all my training.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love hearing. I need to do this.
The first one would be like a minute's rest, then a 45-second rest, then a 30, then a 15, then a minute, then it'll go back up again.
So you're doing 400 metres and you're going to have a 15-second rest and you're going to go do 400 metres again?
Yeah, Colin's brutal.
Well, I saw him do a Facebook post saying he's tried breaking you in every way.
Oh yeah, that was John.
Yeah,
that was John.
Yeah, and I found it quite moving because like, there was nothing that he could do in training to break you physically.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really one in training, like obviously the way my dad brought me up and stuff like that. I won't be like moan or just sort of try and like get on with it sort of thing.
That's a very good trait, especially when if you're overtrained, you're in a calorie deficit, you've got a fight coming up, you've got all these things going on. To have that mindset.
But the way I see it is that they're putting their time and effort into me, so I'm not going to start being like complaining or just stuff like that, really. Yeah. And obviously, my dad used to be very like sort of strict when I was younger, when I was training and stuff like that. Like, if I was hitting the bag and I wasn't putting it all, he'd just come to me and say, "We might as well go home if you're like not going to hit it properly," or he'd be like, "You're not here to make friends." Like, train. He sort of got that sort of mindset into me, and I'm still like it now, where I won't complain or when I'm training and stuff like that.
That's so good. And would you say that's really built you to this day, then, your dad's efforts as a kid?
Yeah, I'd say. And obviously it's like, if you're going to do it properly, or don't do it at all.
I agree. Yeah, there's nothing worse seeing people half-hearted. So what are you doing here?
Yeah, especially with boxing. And some people, they like the image of being a boxer, but maybe don't want to put the hard work into it.
Yeah, and even being at Heart of Portsmouth, when I saw you there's no getting out of it. Doing a mile run around the block, and then going straight into sparring with Walid and Ahmed, and then going into bag work and everything.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit around and complain. You just get on with it.
Well, that's the thing with it. I never really used to even see that run as like, oh, that was a mile, or I just used to do it. And now looking back, I think I used to run all the way from Drayton to Heart of Portsmouth, which is 4.6 miles, and I used to train for like 2 to 3 hours because I used to do each session and the box size, and sometimes I'd even run back, and I wouldn't even think like, oh, I've done a lot there. I just used to do it. But only now when I'm older, I think about my training and think, oh, that's too much, or just train a bit smarter. But yeah, I was just a machine when I was a kid.
Yeah, you sound it. And how have you found adapting to the pro game? I know it's still 2-minute rounds, but is it a lot more hurt game? Are you noticing there's a lot more sitting on your punches?
Yeah, and obviously some of the women who ain't even going to be a better boxer, all they have to be is tough, strong, fit, and they do well in the pros because all they got to do is hit you with that one shot. It's 8-ounce gloves. Sometimes them women who are sort of more less better boxers and tougher women can be harder to fight than someone who's actually a better boxer because they're swinging. And I've noticed obviously getting punched with them little gloves on. So you got to be a lot more careful than the amateurs.
Do you get buzzed a lot more than?
I haven't many times, but in that last fight, she hit me with one in the jaw, and it made it a bit blurry. And I thought, oh God, I better not get hit with that again.
Yeah, I remember I was padding someone, and I put my pad out for a hook, and he hit me in the jaw straight, and my legs had buckled. I was like, bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling.
It is weird. And when people mock boxers, that thought, yeah, there's a part of humility in it that you have to take when you sign up for it. But like, people don't understand taking these shots off a professional fighter.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's even me boxing other amateurs that can bang. You don't understand to the extent on just how good these people are. Yeah,
and people, there's a lot of critics in boxing, and people who are like, oh, you've never been boxed before in their life. They say, oh, you should have done that, or why didn't you just knock her out, or just like saying things, and you think you just don't understand sort of how tough a sport it is.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple as you should have done that, why didn't you do this?
What would you say has been your biggest learning fight so far in your pro career?
In Scotland against S3.E6 Capulli, where it turned out to be a draw, where I don't think it should have been a draw, even though I didn't perform at my best. But for me, it was like I wasn't doing the right type of running. It just sort of gave me that kick to change things around.
It was a weird decision because they sort of, I didn't even see him go to like the judges or anything. It was just the ref that just said, just put your hands out.
Well, because although she was Greek, I think she's got like Scottish nationality, so she's represented Scotland before. And then obviously looking at the main event decision with Jack Catchell and Josh Taylor, I was lucky they didn't give me a loss.
Yeah.
But even still, I thought I should have won. It was like I didn't perform my best.
Would you want to rematch her just to settle the score later down the line?
Yeah, but obviously if it would be, I won't be going back up to featherweight. But yeah, definitely along the line.
Yeah, because that did suck when I was watching it. I was actually around my girlfriend's house, around her mum's, and we was all, because I told everyone about you as well. There was like 8 of us all watching it, and I was like, "What? How's that a draw?" Like the whole situation around that, and then like you said, the main event. I was cheering on Josh Taylor, and then when he noticeably lost, he clearly lost. Cattle had a great game plan. He beat him convincingly, and then they called a decision.
Yeah, it was such a shame.
this is what's making boxing just have such a bad rep, and all of the pullouts that are going on, and
yeah.
it's. Are you a big boxing fan out of training?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not as much as I should be or people would expect, because sometimes when I'm boxing, the last thing I want to go home do is go home and watch boxing.
Yeah, you
and at
know
the minute, I've obviously been in my place, I haven't got a telly in there or nothing. So I'm not really been watching much boxing at the minute.
like a prison cell.
I've just basically got my bed at the minute and that's it. But that's obviously because I've just moved into somewhere.
So when did you move in, you say?
A couple months ago.
Okay, nice.
Just waiting for my fight pass.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, would you ever look at maybe moving near Guildford, or...?
I don't think there's no need for... I'm there 3-4 times a week. It's only a 45-minute drive.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then down here I've trained with Gary and Colin, so it's just sort of good how it is, really.
Quite central.
Yeah.
And what have you got coming up? Are you going to be going into camp soon? You've been given any dates?
I'm
by
back
Boxer?
training Monday. Obviously, I always like to stay sort of ready. I hope to fight again this year. I don't know if it will happen, but if not, it would be sort of, say, early next year.
Brilliant. And do you want to thank any sponsors before we wrap it up?
Yeah, but I don't want to forget anybody. So I've got full-time sponsor is Staple Garage and TLB Projects. Just want to thank them. I've got a couple others sort of coming on board as well, but just sort of still waiting on that. And then obviously my training team, John, Colin and Gary.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on, and I look forward to filming some of your training as well down in Guildford.
Yeah, thank you.